Welcome back. Thank you for staying with BERNAMA World. As the year 2024 comes to a close, it leaves behind a stark reminder of the growing impact of climate change on our planet. From unprecedented heat waves and record-breaking floods to devastating storms and wildfires, communities worldwide have faced challenges that test our resilience and collective response to a changing climate. In today's segment, we'll reflect on the key climate and natural disaster events of the year, exploring their implications and the lessons learned. Now joining us via Zoom is Professor Dato Dr. Aileen Tan, Director, Centre for Marine and Coastal Studies, CEMACS at University Science Malaysia, to shed light on these pressing issues and share insights on what the future may hold for our planet. Hello, Prof. Thanks for joining us. Now let's begin with this. How does 2024 compare to previous years in terms of climate change severity and the occurrence of natural disasters, Prof?
Yeah, thank you, Aileen, and very good afternoon to all. First of all, thanks for having me to share some reflection of 2024. Well, each passing year brings increasingly severe weather and climate-related challenges. We always think we have reached the most severe year, but the following years are always even more severe or even warmer. For example, we thought last year we had experienced severe increase in temperature, yet this year is even worse. For example, Malaysia has experienced significant flooding in terms of frequency and severeness, and particularly this year in Terengganu and Kelantan, and not forgetting the recent flood in Alor, which rarely happen in Alor, and we are experiencing it. Most probably next year, there'll be more states being impacted by floods. Our most severe disaster, record for Malaysia is mainly floods, be it floods from the river or floods from the coastal area.
Dato, I completely agree. I simply remember every year stating this as a recap that, it seems like the climate is being impacted further and further, and it seems to be worsening every year. Now, what were the most significant climate change events and natural disasters in 2024, and what trends do they reveal about our planet's changing climate, Prof?
Well, we see the increasing trends in temperature, more temperature and its implications on weather and the global temperature. The implication on weather and climate will continue to rise. It will continue regardless of the efforts we put in. So increasing global average temperatures are intensifying climate-related hazards and risks, resulting in significant and unpredictable outcomes, pushing us closer to irreversible climate tipping points, meaning that we will soon be reaching a point that there will be no turning back. There will be no, regardless of what we do, there will be no recovery. So that is very serious. For example, Greece and India recently have experienced extreme temperature highs and devastating wildfires. We are also seeing the secondary and downstream effects of extreme weather, such as flash changing in rainfall intensity and distribution. All this, we are now more or less like living in a world full of uncertainties. We are able to predict, we are able to say, okay, when it comes to year end, we will have our monsoon, and that's where floods will happen in the East Coast. But in recent years, things like this are mainly unpredictable. It shifts and become more severe, and in terms of preparedness, readiness, it's difficult for the community as well as the government to plan and to be more prepared.
Now, Dato, that sounds more challenging for us in terms of managing the expectations and predictability for us to be able to strategize as well. And all of it sounds very ominous as well. Now, many reports indicate 2024 was among the hottest years on record. What does this signal for global climate systems, Dato?
Well, according to the World Meteorology Organization, 2024 is on track to be the warmest year on record, because, when you reach the top, there's no more benchmarking. You think this is the highest, like I've mentioned earlier. Next year, there will be another higher level, but as for now, 2024 is on track to be the warmest year on record after an extended period of exceptionally high monthly global mean temperature. The years from 2015 to 2024 represent the warmest decade on record. Not only this year is the highest, but from 2015 to 2024 is the warmest decade on record, with accelerating ice loss from glaciers, rising sea levels, and ocean heating. So all this record-breaking rainfall and flooding, rapidly intensifying tropical cyclones, deadly heat, relentless drought, and raging fires that we have seen in different parts of the world this year. And unfortunately, all this will be our new reality and a foretaste of our future. We are now on target to achieve lower emission because the Intergovernmental Panel of Climate Change, which is the IPCC predictions on climate change, provides scenario depending on our carbon dioxide emission. So that is, emission relates to temperature, and we are now on a move and target to achieve the lower emission. So we urgently needs to reduce greenhouse gases emission and strengthening our monitoring and understanding of our changing climate. So of course, we need to step up support for climate change adaptation. It's no longer about mitigation. It's about adaptation and readiness to be well ahead of in order for us to be ready to face the future to come with more challenging issues on climate change.
A lot of uphill battle to come. Now, are certain regions or countries emerging as more vulnerable to climate disasters? And what are the reasons behind this?
Well, Malaysia, is located in a tropic country. We always say we are blessed, with this warm temperature, because it enables us to have our farming, our agriculture to be carried out the whole year round. But then tropical countries like us, Malaysia, are also especially vulnerable due to already high temperature because we are located in the equatorial line. Good weather, but we are also the most vulnerable in terms of high temperatures and shifting of seasonal patterns. So Asia remains the world's most disaster hit region from weather, climate, and water-related hazards. We always talk about climate change, but then that links to not only food security, but also our challenge in water security. So Asia is warming faster than any global average. The warming trend has nearly doubled since 1961 to 1990 period. So these are the things that we are experiencing. That's why many countries in the region experience their hottest year on record in year 2024, along with a barrage of extreme conditions from droughts and heat waves to floods and storms. For instance, Japan's record-breaking delay in the onset of autumn and winter has impacted its tourism sector significantly. So I guess climate change not only has altered the frequency and severity of such events, but profoundly impacting societies, economies, and most importantly, human lives. Because when we are vulnerable, we are experiencing flood, we are also looking into diseases that impact human lives and the environment that we live in.
Now, Prof, we've spoken a lot about, sort of all the ominous signs, all the dangers, all the concerns. Despite the challenges we face this year, are there any positive developments or breakthroughs offering hope in the fight against climate change?
I would say climate change cannot be stopped entirely, but it can be slowed down with effective action. Technologies and scientific advancement are available. What remains critical is leadership and the courage to implement transformative change. Awareness of climate issues is growing in Malaysia. We know, what is happening. But climate adaptation efforts must be accelerated. It's no longer about mitigation, but adaptation. How do we adapt ourselves alongside with the mitigation strategies? Green solutions offering accessible and economical alternatives are gaining popularity. So what is more important is action at all levels is needed, from school groups to communities, from corporate boardrooms to local governments. All this is essential to drive meaningful change. With that, best policy ideas in the world can be used with good leadership, and then I would believe that we were able to join hands and make a difference to fight the climate change, and at least slow down the rate of the climate change happening.
Thank you so much for sharing your thoughts, Prof. That's all the time that we have for now. And we'll move on to having a short breather. We'll take a short breather right now. I'll be back with more updates. This is The World on BERNAMA TV.